Welcome to the Latin Wealth Podcast, a podcast dedicated to educating the Latino community about entrepreneurship, investing, and business.
What's going on, Latin Wealth family? Welcome to another episode to Wealth Wednesday, a new weekly show created by Latinos, giving you the newest trending news in the world and how it can impact our people, our community. So what we're going to hit on today, we're going to hit on Elon Musk rebranding Twitter into Brand X. We're also going to hit on Florida is becoming an emerging hub for Bitcoin mining operations. And we're also going to hit on why it's important to have a quality inner circle. They say your net worth is your network. So, we're going to hit on these phenomenal topics. But before we do, as always, my co-host Jeremiah, how you living today, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Happy to be here. Good topics, always, per usual.
Yep.
Hopefully everything's good with you, man.
I'm blessed and well, man. It's funny because we'll hop into it. You know, I just came back from Houston. Shout out to Houston. Had a phenomenal time out there. Was out there recording some podcast episodes, enjoying the city with my wife. And really want to take this moment to give a huge shout out to our brother Carlos, who has been on Wealth Wednesday, and I know he's going to listen to this episode, and he's going to, well, I actually recorded a podcast episode with him as well, so that's going to come out pretty soon. Look out for that. But just want to give a huge shout out to him because this really ties into why it's important to have a quality inner circle. Like my man's just went above and beyond to make sure I had that hospitality, make sure I was good down there. And I mean, man, bro, like I won't put him on the spot and say everything he was doing, but he was there recording the podcast, and he was like my audio engineer, my video engineer, getting behind the scene footage. I mean, he was doing everything, like he was in it. I'm like, who hired him? But no, shout out to Carlos and some of the other things he did as well. Much appreciated. But you know, that on the way back home, that got me thinking like, yo, it's so important to have quality people in your circle. Not just the right people, not just the people that are going to make you feel comfortable, but the people that are going to help you get to where you want to be in life, that are going to help you reach your goals. Right. And it's just, man, I'm just super grateful and full of gratitude for him. And, you know, people like Jeremiah and some other people in my life that they just want to see you win. It's not the crab in the buckets mentality where they're trying to pull you down. Like, yo, if Chris wins, I win. If Jeremiah wins, I win. That's the mentality that we have. And I think it's so important to, again, surround yourself with people that you're going to have a good time with, but also that they're going to push you to be great and to do better. Right. So I know Jeremiah is a perfect example of someone that's always holding me accountable and like, yo, how can we get better? Or how can you elevate? And that's what you need. Those are the type of people that you need in your circle. So talk to me, man. Like how do you feel about, you know, having a quality circle? And I also want to hit on like, yo, for the people out there that don't have that quality circle, how can they surround themselves with those people and get in that circle?
Well, first and foremost, shouts out to Carlos, right? Because my man's always holds it down. Great guy. Want to give him that shout out for taking care of Chris, man, while he was out there. H-Town is home. So I know there's a lot you can get into in H-Town, and he made sure you stayed on the right path. So shouts out to him. But it is extremely essential to you in the development of you as a man or woman, right? You as a person, to have solid individuals around you. So they said that there are three things, right, in your life that are going to help determine the quality of your life or where you go. Number one is the books you read, right? Cool. We talk about books all the time. Number two is the meetings you attend, right? Or seminars, you could say self-development, things like that, the meetings you attend. And number three is the associations that you hold. Okay.
That's good.
And so the associations that you're holding, hopefully those are people that are going to push you to be better than where you're at today. And Chris always talk about the 1% improvement. Hopefully that person is pushing you to get that 1 extra percent. When you feel that you can't do it, they believe in you and they're telling you that you can do it, right? And then hopefully there's someone also that's going to hold you accountable when you don't make it, or when you make a decision maybe that could be contrary to what you believe, or contrary to your morals usually, and they know you're better than that, and they'll call you out, be like, hey bro, you should, come on, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? A
Mm-hmm.
good friend and a good person that's in your inner circle, a good brother, a good sister, they're going to call you out. Now it's up to you to accept the constructive criticism and then use it appropriately, right? That's another subject. But
Mm-hmm.
in the inner circle, there should be people that aren't yes men in your inner circle.
Mm-hmm. Very important. Very important. Um, no, I love that. And for me, I feel like something I struggled with early on is, so I've always had that mentality of being a lone wolf. And I think there's seasons where you can have that mentality, and I think it's good, right? But I think most of my life I've had that thought process just because I moved around a lot and trust issues and whatnot. But it was a point where I wanted a quality circle. Like I wanted a group of guys that I can lean on. And like I remember going to in college, going to have sushi with a group of guys. Like it was five of them, and they had invited me to tag along with them. And I just remember just like kind of sitting on the edge of the table and just looking at them like, man, this is so dope. Like a group of guys going to college, you know, investing in their careers, just being positive. I'm like, man, I want that, right? And I think what's important not to get caught up in is wanting to join other people's tables, wanting to join other people's group, right? I think sometimes it could work, but for me, it's been beneficial to create your own table, to create your own group of people, right? And I know we see it all the time. Like, yo, if I can just, I think I've told Jeremiah, like, if I can just get in the room with this person and be around them and rock with this celebrity, rock with this influencer, we can make all types of money. But more times than often, you're better off building with the people that are around you, that got the same mentality as you, that believe in you. The grass ain't always greener on the other side. There's people that you may want to build with so bad, but your morals and principles just don't align. You know what I'm saying? So I
That's if your people, that's if your mentality is where you should be. Because if
hundred
everybody,
percent.
if you don't have a solid mentality and people that have your same mentality, you need to get out of that group. You need to get into a mentality of people that are going to challenge you and want you to level up. So that depends on where your mentality's at. But I feel you. If you're already positive and you're on that path or however, whatever, then yeah, you definitely want people that have that same frequency, right? That same mentality.
100%. I was gonna say, in order for you to get to that point, you got to be working on yourself to
Yes.
get in these rooms, to get around these people. For me to have these conversations with Jeremiah Carlos, I had to have been working on myself all my life, or else when these conversations, I wouldn't be ready for these conversations. I wouldn't be ready to receive what they have to give to me or to impute in me, right? I had to have been working on myself every single day and elevating myself to get myself in those circles.
I agree, and I think that people sometimes they move in various circles, and a lot of time we talked about this several times. It keeps coming up, but the survivor's remorse
Yeah.
that plays a factor into who's in your inner circle as well, right? Like think about it. Sometimes you elevate and you get to a different place, and maybe you got to a new job, or you're going to a better school, or you're hanging around some friends that maybe have some more ambition and goals than what you grew up with, and you feel a certain type of way. You feel like you sold out, or so that stuff is that survivor's remorse, and you have to deal with that and manage that and understand that you deserve, right, to be in a place where you're being poured into, because if you're pouring into people, people should be pouring into you.
100%. And I love that. No, definitely. So I love that you brought up. So you said the books, the seminars, the rooms that you're getting into, and then the people that you surround yourself with. You said it elevates you in life, or what did you specifically say?
I said if you want to reach a certain level of
Yep.
elevation, right?
Yep.
If you want to get to that next level, last week we talked about liminal space, right? So if you want to get to a place where you're getting out of that transitional space and you're elevating to that next level, those are the three things that are gonna be super essential to doing that.
No, 100%. And I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. It may not be, for some people, it may be easy, but for some people, it may not be easy, right? I know for Jeremiah, he's quit to cut people loose, but there's some people out there.
It's true.
There's some people out there that, they just been growing up with these people all their life. They may be in their 30s. I went to high school, college with y'all. Like we drink every weekend.
Yeah.
If you try to remove yourself from that circle, you don't think they're going to look at you sideways. You don't think you're going to get some type of, so just know there is going to be a level of being uncomfortable doing that, right? It's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult, especially if you've been the same way your whole life and you're comfortable with these people. It's going to be it's going to be really challenging.
It will be, and that's okay. This is just part of the
Yeah,
challenge. Part of that challenge is understanding that it's going to be a challenge and being okay with that.
100%. Yeah, love that. Speaking of challenge,
Mm.
that boy Elon Musk is just, he's been trying to hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? You see the picture of Mark Zuckerberg with, two UFC champions.
You ain't on Mark. You ain't on Mark's level, man.
No, he's not.
I'm,
He's
I'm not.
definitely not.
I'm not trying to be like that. I love Elon Musk. Like I'm not a big Mark Zuckerberg fan. I'm more of an Elon fan, but he ain't seeing Mark right now.
No, no, not in the ring for sure. So Elon Musk is rebranding Twitter into brand X. Twitter has officially rebranded to X. Yes, the letter X, just X, after owner Elon Musk changed its iconic bird logo Monday, making the latest major shift since his takeover of the social media platform. And you guys know Twitter has been renowned with the bird logo. It's been synonymous with Twitter, and he changed it to X. He changed the website, I think, to x.com. I think their headquarters, they were taking down the Twitter logo. Like they're not playing around. It's out. I think if you even look up the app on what I'm saying, the app store, it's just X now. So Elon Musk tweeted, this is what he said about the app. He said Sunday that led to the idea of changing the letter to X was to embody the imperfection in all of us that makes us unique. That's what he said. So yeah, man, this is crazy. I was just telling Jeremiah before the call, like I've never seen a company like this personally just make so many dramatic changes, like buying a company, then backing out, and then buying it, and then laying people off, and then I don't know, man. This is crazy to me. Like I was telling Jeremiah before the call, I feel like Elon Musk right now is being very reactive instead of being that innovative person that he is. Right? He's
Yep.
kind of reacting to threads and what Instagram doing over there. He wants to play catch up, I guess, or whatever the case is. But what are your thoughts on this, bro?
First and foremost, he always said this was probably maybe 5 or 6 months ago. You and I had talked about it, but and then I had talked about it again on a podcast that I was on. But basically, he's been wanting to make this change, and
Yeah.
X is his thought process of making it the full service app. If you guys don't know, obviously Elon Musk was a part of the PayPal mafia, helped to create PayPal, take it to the level that it was, which was a payment service, first of its kind back then, and so he wants to integrate things like that into Twitter, integrated into SpaceX as well. So there's multiple different facets of things. I'm pretty sure that X is going to go into every Tesla, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there'll be some functionality and things that you could get exclusive content or something you could get in your car with X. So I know he's been working on this. So this
For
is something
sure.
that
For
we do.
sure.
Obviously the timing has to do with
It's
threads.
weird. Yeah.
Like he wasn't planning to come out with it now. He sped it up, right? Because of thread. But it's weird because we were talking about how thread's actual numbers went down. So I mean
Mm-hmm.
it's cool, but probably didn't have to do it. Probably could have left it Twitter because there's something to be said for the actual recognition of a brand.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
For sure.
Rebranding something sometimes can cost you quite a bit because sometimes people just know something by the logo.
100%.
If I throw you a swoosh, that's Nike. It doesn't
For
matter
sure.
where, however, whatever, however, right? That's a Nike shoe. They don't even have to write Nike on it, right? That's a
Mm-hmm.
Nike. It's the same thing with Twitter. The blue bird, you knew that was Twitter related, right? It's Twitter. And so X is going to take some time to do some rebranding. I think that was a piece of why he wanted to do it. He got rid of all these people. But he is being reactionary. And I'll say this again, America is most we progress the most when
Mm-hmm.
our billionaires, when these guys, these
Yeah.
captains of industry, when they're forward thinking, America benefits the most, right? When their brains are in thinking about that next level, America is progressing. And that just helps us worldwide, our stance worldwide. And there's a lot going on with the dollar and stuff. So we need them locked in. So I'm saying it like Elon,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter alone. You left it alone
Yeah.
once you went back to Tesla and SpaceX. You started focusing in. You were locked in. Stuff was good. Go back to that. Just let
Mm-hmm.
the new they just got a new CEO for Twitter, well X, right? And so let her do it. You guys sit together and talk, and then you go back and do Tesla. Stick to your
Mm-hmm.
wheelhouse. That's what I'll say.
I can see him going back to Twitter.
Nah,
You don't think so?
I
Why
don't think.
not?
I think there's
Because he wants to build that all in one app.
he does, but I think that there's some contingencies with his stock and things like that that the board of Tesla has
Hmm.
implemented. I think he can't have a leave of absence. I don't know this. This is not me saying this like I know for sure, but I believe that there are some contingencies that were put in place based upon the last performance, the stock performance, and what it did
Mm-hmm.
to the stock overall, and even his overall net worth, right? His overall, him as a brand, Elon's brands were hurt when he was focusing on Twitter, throwing sinks out and firing people and stuff. It's just a show. And so let someone else run that show and you focus on the things that are actually going to, progress mankind, which is getting us to Mars and building Mars. Like those things are important. It's very important. And so you should focus on those type things.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the board of Tesla, although he's the owner and stuff, I'm almost 100% sure there was some stuff that was put into,
Mm.
into action.
No, it's interesting you brought up the brand perspective of it. Like when you think of the bird, you think of the word, when you even think of like a written text or written form of content on social media, think of Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yep.
watching NBA finals or you're watching UFC fights, and what pops up in the corner, a tweet from Dwayne Wade or a tweet from so and
Yeah.
so. So it is interesting how that brand it's going to be rebranded, and like are some of these big platforms going to start integrating threads on there? Or, X is it going to be, what I'm saying? I think it's going to be interesting to see. Um, but what I wanted to ask is, have you messed around with WeChat? I've never actually downloaded the app before.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So as we mentioned, X wants to be that all-in-one platform, kind of like WeChat. So if you guys don't know what WeChat is, basically a social media payment processor. Um, you can message people, you can call people all on this one app,
There's
and
video messaging.
it's mainly used in countries like China and I
Mm-hmm.
think India as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So very interesting. Something
Which
else
is a
that I was,
large user base, man.
yeah, no, it's, bruh, that's billions of people. Yeah.
Literally,
Um,
like almost 3 billion people between the two.
yeah.
Yep.
I was also going to say that they are limiting the number of daily direct messages unverified users can send on Twitter or X now. And in order for you to get unlimited direct messages, you need to sign up for their subscription.
Listen, and you know what's that? You know why they're doing that, right? That's the offset. Remember, they
Mm-hmm.
just started paying people,
100%.
so
But I
that's
heard
all.
but you know what's crazy about that? I heard they wasn't paying people anything.
They ain't.
Like
It's
like fractions.
like very things. It's like it's basically like I think it was like a million hits or a million clicks, and it gets you like was it like $8 or something like it was
Bro,
something
I think
crazy.
I think it might be like 8 cents, to
Oh,
be
it was
honest
eight
with you.
cents. Okay,
I
I knew
think
it
it
was
was like
something
eight
crazy.
cents,
I
bro.
knew it was something crazy. I
Because
was like,
there is somebody
whoa,
that over the course of 6 months he had got, and
seventy
don't
nine
quote,
thousand dollars,
yeah, but it was like 800 million
800 and like
impressions.
850 million impressions or
I'm
something.
like,
It
bro,
was
that's
crazy.
like,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on, that's like 0.01% of creators are ever gonna get
And
that
then what are
much.
they charging for the verified services?
What is it, 14, 12 a month?
Is that what Twitter's charging?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And that's Well, that's what I know. Meta's doing that or something. They got like $14 or
I have
something.
to verify that, but I
But
think it's like 14.
it's offset then, like literally with one person. It's not. So I'm just saying,
Right, one person.
in their mind, they're like, oh well, we could do this because we're paying people, and that's what they're going to backdoor with.
Mhm.
Well, we're charging you to get access to unlimited, right? But you could get paid. Just get your, so yeah,
Bro, that
that's
ain't
not smart.
nothing.
That's just going to
Mhm.
push more people to Threads. Threads is just sitting there waiting, and even though
Yeah,
their
they would.
usage, right? If you look at the report, their usage dropped. I mean, you get a billion people on it. It don't really matter. It
Hmm.
could drop. You're still going to be
Hmm.
winning. So
Crazy. So man, that's crazy. So let's switch gears a little bit. We want to squeeze in this last topic.
yeah,
Florida is an emerging hub for Bitcoin mining operations to really flourish. And if you guys know, a lot of companies, especially the digital asset companies, are leaving states like California, the
yeah,
Pacific Northwest, Washington, and New York to go to more tax-friendly states such as Florida. And you get that beautiful weather, right?
yep.
Um, but also these companies are going out there because of Florida reliable energy grids and its increasing leadership in sustainable energy. So I really want to know your thoughts about this because you've been in crypto for a minute. You know what I'm saying? You study this a lot. Um, in the article, if I'm not mistaken, they were kind of saying that Bitcoin mining is actually not detrimental to the environment. Did I catch that right?
They said
Or
that.
they okay, that's what they just said.
No, they said that. They said that.
Because I'm like, I've always known like Bitcoin mining is, kind of, bad for the environment, but they were saying the
Carbon.
opposite.
It's carbon heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk to us, bro.
Um. So usual mining is very carbon heavy. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. And the actual energy that it takes in computing space and stuff that it takes for you to do these type of things is it can get right. It can get to a certain place because if I house these type of machines and CPUs as necessary to do the mining, that goes in the building. The building has lights. The building, what type of energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so these are the things that you have to think about. Now, if you run it off solar, that's a whole different thing. But that's another part of why also an additional right benefit to you going to Florida. If I'm housing Bitcoin mining stations in New York, you're only getting so much time throughout the year that the weather is allowing you to,
100%.
I'm saying?
That's a
I mean, like,
fact.
just keep it, I mean, Florida's literally called a sunshine state. I lived
Yeah.
there for like 5 years, loved it, loved the weather, loved Florida. Um, and California obviously gets a lot of sunshine,
But the taxes.
but the taxes are crazy. So you
Yeah.
can't afford it. And so you move to Texas or you move to Arizona, Nevada, Florida. But Florida is favorable not only because of the seasons and sun and things like that, so you can use that energy, but also because of the taxes, and then also a lot of the financial sectors that were headquartered in New York have moved to Florida. And
Mm-hmm.
so now what's created in Florida, it's been during COVID, that's when a lot of them moved and they stayed. And so now what you have is a very financially savvy group of people, in the central area of Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Tampa over to that area. Like if you just drew
Mm-hmm.
a straight line to the top and then drop down to Miami, like from there down, there's quite a few people. And there's a lot of very fiscally responsible people that are there and they know what to do with money. And
Mm-hmm.
investment banks, Goldman Sachs moved down there. There's a few others, and it's smart. It makes more sense to do it in Florida. Also, also on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
DeFi is the craziest thing. All that's the craze, right? Chris, tell me what you think about this. Remember, we talked about the laws that got in place, right, for making it illegal to have immigrants that are working at your job, or they're going to fine
Mm-hmm.
you, possibly arrest you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this Bitcoin mining facilities moving down there. And if they can find something that's carbon neutral, some of them have found a way to get pretty close. They're hiring some of those immigrants. And so imagine if you
But
have big,
how are they hiring them if it's illegal?
how do you pay Bitcoin? They pay that if they pay.
Gotcha. We got a smart man here. Go ahead, keep going, bro.
So This is just, and so just think about it. It's already off the grid, not totally off the grid, but Bitcoin, you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Bitcoin is
yeah.
not, it's not centrally controlled. And so if that
Mm-hmm.
being the case, I can pay you in Bitcoin, right? Or I can pay in Bitcoin and change it over to whatever wallet, and I can send it directly to your wallet, right?
Very interesting.
And
Very, very
so
interesting.
think about that. Of the 800,000 immigrants that are out there, if I find something that's carbon neutral and I can then in turn maybe have excess energy or something from the computing services, or create some way to where, right, there's an additional few jobs or things that correspond with those Bitcoin mining facilities, that's jobs for people. All you
It's
have to do is
jobs. I was gonna say it's job and it's education as well, because now if you're getting paid in Bitcoin, you got to kind of figure out what this is, how to receive it, and how to send
exactly,
it. And that's
exactly.
gonna open up. I mean, maybe we're thinking kind of 10 steps ahead here, but now you figuring out like, okay, there's Bitcoin out there, there's Ethereum out there, there's XRP, like what are all these different tokens?
Exactly.
Let me educate myself on these things, right? You got countries in Central America that are potentially looking to unite with El Salvador because of what they're doing with
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
What if you can send money to your family like that? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And I'm with that. I mean, El Salvador has been one of the success stories, right? And I feel like over in Europe, there are going to be quite a few other countries that are coming. Just
Yeah.
watch it. That'll be on the wings. Now, I mean, in the US is obviously moving towards that. People now calling like BlackRock's CEO is like Fink is like, that's the next wave, right? It's
Hmm.
the finance of the future. So it's coming. And I think that people should just, I think that that's an answer. And then they're like, well, how would they change it into fiat? Well, remember, we talked about the banking service, right? That
Hmm.
specifically helps.
Yeah.
So you connect those two. And if they accept Bitcoin, boom, there you go.
Boom. I need to.
I'm just
Yeah.
connecting the dots for everybody, man, trying to help out.
No, no, 100. I do have one question. This is like unrelated to this, but why, for a minute, I think you couldn't buy XRP in New York, or there were some coins that you couldn't or there were some apps you couldn't download in New York. Why was that the case?
Because New York's specific financial sector, number one, Wall Street's there, right? Number two is New York. If when you're in the financial space, like where we're at, where I'm at with my company, you have to have specific licenses for New York.
Mm,
Their state laws, state regulations, and things are totally different from everybody else. It makes it
hmm
very difficult to do business in New York. So much so that most financial companies, insurance companies, things like that, they don't do business in New York. That's the
mm,
reason. It's special, like there's special regulations and things that they have in place to make it harder for you, for the government not to have their hand in your pocket, basically.
mm. Interesting. Interesting. Love it. Great episode. If you guys found any of this informative, interesting, if you learned anything, please do us a favor. As always, share this episode with 3 people at least that need to hear this podcast. We come on here every single week. We prep, we put in the time, we put in the work to give you guys a quality product. And all we ask is that you guys just receive the information, apply it, and then share it with somebody. That's it. So if you could do that for us, that would really mean the world. If it's this episode, an interview, or past episode, share it with somebody. And we appreciate you as always from the Latin Wealth family. Catch you guys next week. Peace.